Imagine getting sick 40,000 years ago. No pills, no doctors, no clue what was happening inside you. Just guesswork and desperate hope. Today, medicine saves billions, but the road here was wild. For most of history, healing was pure chance. The first doctors tested plants by trial and error. Sometimes it healed, sometimes it killed. Survivors passed the knowledge on. Slowly, piece by piece. The Egyptians were among the first to write it all down. One scroll described broken bones almost like a modern textbook. Then came the man they call the father of medicine. Hippocrates in ancient Greece did something radical. He claimed disease wasn't caused by gods or spirits, but natural causes. At the time, that sounded almost like heresy. He also wrote the doctor's oath still used today. But medicine's real nightmare was still ahead. For centuries, doctors believed one strange idea: bloodletting. They thought the body had four humors, and sickness meant imbalance. So treatment almost always started the same way: drain the blood. Even as patients weakened, doctors just drained more. Historians think it killed more than it cured. Sometimes they used leeches instead of knives. Their medicine was even scarier. Mercury was literally prescribed as a cure for everything. In reality, it slowly poisoned them, causing tremors and lost teeth. Even cocaine was once sold as a harmless tonic, advertised for fatigue, pain, even children's coughs. Sounds absurd today. They believed it completely. Worse still, surgeons operated with dirty hands, unaware of germs. Surgery death rates were often higher than the disease itself. It took one small discovery to change everything, a discovery that flipped it all upside down. In the 1670s, a man named Antony van Leeuwenhoek looked through his homemade microscope. What he saw shocked him: a whole invisible world of creatures. He called them animalcules. Today, we call them bacteria. The problem was, almost no one understood what it meant for centuries. Doctors kept working with dirty hands, unaware of the danger, until one stubborn doctor spotted the pattern and forced everyone to wash their hands. Then Louis Pasteur and Robert Koch proved it for good. Germs cause disease. This became germ theory, and it flipped medicine upside down. Suddenly, clean hands, sterile tools, and gloves became mandatory. Hospital death rates plummeted almost overnight. Then came another accident that would save hundreds of millions of lives. In 1928, Alexander Fleming noticed stray mold-killing bacteria in his dish. Penicillin was discovered by accident, the first true antibiotic. Since then, antibiotics have saved hundreds of millions of lives. One of medicine's greatest revolutions happened purely by luck. But luck alone wasn't going to be enough going forward. Medicine needed something far more rigorous, a method. And that method would change how every future cure gets discovered. In the 1740s, a doctor named James Lind ran one of the first real experiments in medicine. Sailors were dying of scurvy by the thousands, and no one knew why. Lind gave different sailors different treatments side by side, and simply watched. The group eating citrus fruit recovered almost immediately. This simple test proved vitamin C prevented scurvy, decades before vitamins were even understood. This became the blueprint for something huge: the clinical trial, testing treatments on real groups, comparing results, trusting evidence over guesswork. Around the same era, Edward Jenner made an equally strange discovery. He noticed milkmaids who caught cowpox never seemed to catch deadly smallpox. So he deliberately infected a child with cowpox, then exposed him to smallpox itself. The child stayed perfectly healthy. Vaccination was born. At first, people were terrified of the idea. But eventually, vaccination spread across the entire world. In 1980, smallpox became the first human disease ever fully eradicated. A disease that once killed millions, gone completely because of one bold experiment. Medicine kept accelerating. Antibiotics went mass market. X-rays let doctors see inside the body. No cutting required. Then came open heart surgery. Once impossible, now routine. In 1953, DNA structure was revealed. The blueprint of life itself. Decades later, we mapped the entire human genome. Suddenly, gene therapy became possible. Diseases once considered incurable started disappearing one by one. Then came mRNA vaccine technology, a vaccine platform built in months instead of years. Now, robots assist surgeons directly. AI spots tumors doctors sometimes miss. We went from bloodletting to gene editing in just 300 years. But the story isn't over, because modern medicine still has serious blind spots. Modern medicine is incredible, but it's not perfect. Bacteria are evolving resistance to our antibiotics. Some infections are becoming untreatable again. It's a race scientists are still fighting. And medicine still isn't equally available to everyone. Millions still lack access to even basic treatment. Even science itself sometimes contradicts itself. New evidence keeps overturning old assumptions. Some of biology's biggest mysteries are still unsolved. Cancer alone still kills millions every single year. But global research has never moved faster than right now. New cell therapies are already curing some cancers completely. Some scientists now openly study how to slow aging itself. Average life expectancy has more than doubled in just 100 years. An achievement almost no one alive today fully appreciates. So what does this wild journey really teach us? Medicine's story is really a story of humility. Every generation was sure they finally understood the body. And every generation was proven partly wrong by the next one. That's not a weakness. That's exactly how science works. Real progress means staying willing to be wrong. Millions of researchers are still testing, failing, and trying again today. Every treatment you trust today came from centuries of failure. Next time you take medicine, remember what it actually took to get here. Every doctor today owes something to a long chain of stubborn believers. You are protected by centuries of trial, error, and sheer persistence. And honestly, that might be one of humanity's most underrated achievements. So next time someone doubts modern medicine, remember it took bloodletting, mercury, and one lucky mold to get here. Now, let's bring it all together. One final thought before we go. Let's go back to where we started. An ancient human, sick, scared, with no answers. It took bloodletting, mercury, and one accidental mold to get here. Countless failures. A few brilliant accidents. Every pill you take carries that entire history inside it. A story shared by billions, protecting all of us together. Next time you're at a doctor's office, remember what it took to get there. An invisible enemy, once unstoppable. Today, we fight it and often win. Subscribe for more wild true stories behind everyday science. Tell me in the comments which invention we explore next. Share this with someone who's never thanked their doctor properly. A tiny pill, a massive, hard-fought piece of human history. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.